Our keynote speaker is Dr. Victoria Leiphart. Dr. Leiphart is a board-certified gynecologist. She attended medical school at the University of Virginia School of Medicine. She did her internship and residency at the New York Hospital Cornell Medical Center. Dr. Leiphart is on staff at Washington Hospital Healthcare System.
As mentioned, I'm in practice at Washington Hospital for the last 20 years. In addition to being in the American College of OBGYN, I'm also a member of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. That's a relatively new branch of medicine that's really devoted to the idea that you can prevent and treat disease with exercise, with nutrition, and with stress management. We've all believed this for a long time, but there's growing evidence in the literature. We've all nagged our patients for years to do this. Those of you who are my patients know that this is my favorite thing to do. This is what I spend most of my office visits doing, talking to my patients about how to live a healthier lifestyle and how that's going to impact their health. So this is near and dear to my heart. So, how old am I? Well, 100 years ago, I would have been in the winter of my life. I would have been considered a very old woman. If you ask my teenager, I am a very old woman. But, as women are living longer, I'm a middle-aged woman. But I am inspired by my mature patients. My patients that are 20, 30, 40 years older than me are my role models. I have so many patients that are energetic, vital, amazing women as they age. They take up new hobbies as they age. They become artists of renown. They exercise. They take care of themselves. These are the women that inspire me, and these are the women I hope to emulate. And what they all have in common is that they exercise, they watch what they eat, and they manage the stress in their lives well. Now, I was born in 1959. That makes me the same age as Barbie. However, if Barbie had aged like a real American woman, this is what Barbie would, oops. This is what Barbie would really look like. This is Barbie if she had lived an American lifestyle. Barbie, the typical American woman, 2/3 of American women are overweight or obese. In middle-aged and older women, that number is even higher. 1 out of 3 meals is eaten outside the home. Half of that is fast food. You see Barbie there with her soda. The average American woman spends 3 or 4 hours in front of a computer screen or a TV. There's the allure of Facebook and American Idol. This is not good for any of us. That is not how we want to live. This is how we want to live. We want to feel light. We want to feel serene. We want to live a life of where we feel graceful. This is how we want to live our lives. What are the barriers to us living the life that we want to live? We all know we should exercise. We all know we should eat right? We've all heard this before. This is not news to anybody. There's nobody out here who doesn't know what we're supposed to do, right? Why are we not doing it? That's because our lives look like this. We have too many balls in the air. We have too many things on our plate. We all have children. We have aging parents. We have jobs. We have civic activities. We have our homes. We have our husbands. We all have too much stuff to do. The problem really is that taking care of ourselves goes after all this. It's somewhere down along, cleaning out the litter box for the cat. We really do better if we make ourselves and our health a higher priority, because then we manage everything else better. But as women, we don't do that. We're socialized to be caretakers. We're socialized to take care of everyone else in our lives and not to take care of ourselves. We don't do a very good job of taking care of ourselves. I want to talk about nutrition. We all know what we're supposed to eat. We all know we're supposed to eat lots of fruits and vegetables. We've all seen the food pyramid. The new guideline is actually a plate. It's about half fruits and vegetables, about a quarter whole grains, whole wheat bread, quinoa, brown rice, all those things, and about a quarter protein, nuts, meat, lean meat, preferably fish, tofu, in that category. We all know we're supposed to eat like that, but why are we not really eating like that? What are the barriers to us eating the way we should eat? A lot of it is restaurant meals and portion control. No one should eat a double portion of deep fried California roll who is not a 14-year-old boy. Portion control is an issue because in restaurants, they give you double to triple an appropriate portion size. And the solution to that is when you're eating with friends, split an entree. The real solution is to just ask for the takeout box, and when they serve you your plate, put half of it in the takeout box and have it for lunch the next day. And you have to do that right at the outset, because I have to tell you, yesterday I had lunch with a girlfriend. I intended to take half of it home. No, it was delicious. I ate the whole thing. I didn't take it. If I had taken the takeout box at the beginning, I would have had a little more discipline, so I spent extra time at the gym last night, ladies, to make up for it. Now, portion control doesn't mean your food has to be tiny. These are little deviled quailed eggs. I just had to throw them in because they were cute. What we really should be eating is more fruits and vegetables. The studies show that the people who live the longest and are the healthiest are the people who eat the most fruits and vegetables. It's pretty straightforward. All the rest of the dietary stuff matters less than fruits and vegetables. I'd like to quote Michael Pollan, my favorite food writer. He wrote The Omnivore's Dilemma and In Defense of Food. And he said all of his advice can be summed up in 7 words. Eat food, mostly plants, not too much. And when he says eat food, what he really means is that if it has ingredients in it that your grandmother wouldn't recognize as food, then you probably shouldn't eat it. And really, if you read labels and it has more than 5 ingredients, it's probably not good for you. And he says anything that has a health claim on the label, just skip it. Go to the produce aisle. All that beautiful produce doesn't have any health claims listed on it. That's the stuff you should be eating. And he's written a new book, and it's got all these corollaries to it. My favorite is, if it's handed to you through the window of your car, it's not real food. Mostly plants, that's exactly what I just said. Your diet should be mostly fruits and vegetables, whole grains. That should be the basis of your diet. This plate is what was at the farmer's market and at the Safeway a couple of weeks ago. Even in the dead of winter, you can get beautiful, inexpensive produce at the farmer's market. If you don't know how to cook something, if you see all these vegetables you've never seen before, those ladies will tell you. And that's what the internet is for. You look up, the purple kale, I had no idea what to do with that, really. But that's what the internet is for. So I Googled it, figured out how to cook it, and my teenage son actually ate it and enjoyed it. Always a coup. And not too much, that's obvious, we talked about that. The second thing I want to talk about is exercise. I actually think exercise is the most important thing, because if you exercise, it gives you a sense of vitality, you feel more energetic. You actually, once you start exercising, you're much more likely to then start eating healthier, and because you start to feel better, you start to feel better about yourself. A recent study just showed that people who exercise spend less money on their credit card because it gives them a sense of control and discipline. Just throw that in, heard that on NPR. I want to put in a plug for strength training. The purpose of strength training is not to look like this. You know, we don't all need a six-pack of abs. You know, that's not the reason that we do strength training. The real purpose of strength training is to maintain your mobility. So you can go up and down the stairs of your home, whether you have a more modest home or a castle. That's my mother and sister at the castle up in Napa. But that's the real purpose of strength training. And that's the real purpose of exercise, is so that we maintain our good health, we maintain our mobility. And it doesn't have to be a lot of exercise. I mean, the guidelines are that we should all get 5 hours of moderate exercise. But if you're a total couch potato and get no exercise, which is the case for most people, that's an intimidating number. But the population that benefits the most from exercise is not the population that goes from 4 hours to 5 hours. It's the population that goes from 0 to an hour. If you are a complete couch potato, don't be intimidated by these numbers. Start walking for 10 minutes once or twice a day and build up from there. I had one patient who, in her 40s, was a sedentary smoker and realized she was out of breath when she walked to the end of her driveway and back to check the mail and said, oh, that's bad. Started exercising, started walking a little further. She walked up and down the length of her driveway a couple of times. She gradually increased the distance, half a block, a full block. Within 5-7 years, she was doing triathlons. Now, you don't all have to live like that, but if you start small, you're not as intimidated, it's not as overwhelming to commit to 10 minutes a day or 10 minutes twice a day, and you'll gradually increase to where you should be. I want to put a plug in for my favorite form of exercise. I think yoga is the fountain of youth. My teacher, Asha, is the same age that I am. She teaches at a couple of local gyms. She also teaches in her home. And anybody who wants her contact information, just ask me. She does have a beginner class in her home. They also have a yoga class here at the hospital that's intended as a beginner class. There's yoga classes through the Fremont Adult School, through the City of Fremont. The lady who teaches on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Senior Center here in Fremont is 91 years old. Barbara is how I want to age. She's lithe, she's beautiful, she's vibrant. She is what I want to be when I am 90 years old. You do better exercising if you exercise with friends. Some people have the discipline to exercise by themselves. I personally do not. And this is the top of Mission Peak. My girlfriend and I did not start out that day and just go to the top of Mission Peak. We worked our way up to it gradually. Every week we went a little further until we got to the peak. And, you know, that was what was necessary for us. If we had tried to go to the top, we would have been so exhausted and so miserable that we would have never done it again. But it was pleasurable and it was fun because we had company, the time passed easily. It was great. You also have to be honest with yourself about what you're really going to do, because we all know that, you know, we can get on the treadmill for 30 minutes and da-da-da-da. I personally find the treadmill so boring that it is like torture. My girlfriend Ann, in the picture, finds the treadmill very zen and peaceful, and she puts on her music, and that's good. Not me. I need novelty. I need something interesting. I have tried taiko drumming. I've tried curling, which is more exercise than it looks. And I've tried all kinds of things because I'm in search of novelty and a new experience. A challenge is good. When I went zip lining, I have to tell you, was scary for me because I have a fear of heights. So being able to overcome that and just gave me a real sense of empowerment. It was fun. My favorite form of exercise is dance, because it gives you a sense of yourself as a graceful, beautiful woman, no matter how old you are. And with the learning choreography gives you that brain work. You feel like you're staving off dementia. And the costumes are fun. I did not start out being able to do this. That's a sword balanced on my head, ladies. This is 6 or 8 years into belly dance for me before I could do something like this. It takes strength, it takes precision. I love belly dance. And there are a lot of women of mature years belly dancing. The redheaded in the background is one of my teachers. She's 62. She's been teaching for 35 years. The blonde on the far right side is also one of my teachers, and she says you're not a fully mature belly dancer until you're in your 40s and 50s, because you bring your life experience to the dance, and that informs how graceful and beautiful you are on stage. Lastly, I want to talk about stress management. We all live such crazy lives, and we very seldom take the downtime that we need to recharge our batteries. And that's essential to your physical health. It's essential to staying well over the long term. And how you do that varies. Time with your women friends is one of the most valuable times. The studies show that men are the healthiest if they have a woman in their lives, usually their wives, but the studies show that it's not their husbands that keep women healthy, it's their relationships with other women. So a group like this is a perfect way to spend your day, because your relationships with other women are what give you joy and happiness and manage the stress in your life. You may recognize some of the women in this group. It's my sister, my girlfriend, but then some of the doctors here, Dr. Dai, Dr. Prasad, Dr. An, Dr. Sharma, who's talking later today, Dr. Singh, Dr. Akwili, and another one of my girlfriends. This was a charity luncheon. Everybody has different ways of managing stress. For some people, it's meditation. For some people, it's prayer. For some people, it's knitting. Whatever gives you that sense of relaxation, that sense of peacefulness, that ability to clear your mind and feel your body just relax. Find that for yourself and spend some time every day doing that. And it's different for every woman. Me, I'm too hyper to sit quietly and meditate. That's just not going to work for me. And so my meditation is also my exercise. It's yoga. When I leave yoga, not only do I feel strong and flexible, but I have a sense of relaxation and peacefulness and calm that I get from nothing else. But it varies for every person. The most important thing that we all do to manage the stress in our lives is to have a sense of gratitude for the small things in our lives. We all get so stressed out about what's bad and what's negative in the world and in our lives. We get stressed out about the economy, we get stressed out about war, we get stressed out about job loss, about health issues, about all those things. And we're all much happier if we have a sense of gratitude for what's good in our lives. Because, as middle-aged women, we can focus on the fact that this sags, that sags, we can't bounce around like we used to, we have more aches and pains. We have things that we can focus on that are negative, but it's not really necessary to do that. If we focus on what's good in our lives, what we are still able to do, the friends that we have, the family that we enjoy, the fact that we live in California, an incredibly beautiful place with a gorgeous climate, a diverse population. It's an incredible place that we live here, that we all have access to all this beautiful food, that we can just go to the farmer's market and have all this. We are such privileged women to live in this area, and we have so much to be grateful for. And the studies show that you have much greater personal happiness if you're grateful for what you have rather than longing for what you don't have. In summary, I really want to say that beauty and aging gracefully does not come from Botox. It doesn't come from hair dye. It doesn't come from plastic surgery. The goal is not to look young. The goal is to feel younger, more vibrant, more vital, that comes from fruits and vegetables and exercise, not from plastic surgery. And we all should try to live lives where we emulate the vital, exciting, interesting older women in our lives. And we have to start at whatever stage we are now if we hope to get there. So I try to practice what I preach. It gives me the right to nag with a clear conscience, and it gives me the hope that I will age as gracefully as my patients who are older than I am. Any questions?
When you mentioned 5 hours of exercise, is that daily or weekly?
Weekly, once a
Okay.
week, sorry. But the new guidelines are that we should aim for 5 hours of moderate exercise a week, and that is brisk walking, active gardening, that sort of thing. You can actually do 2.5 hours instead of strenuous exercise, running, Zumba dance, something like that that really gets your heart rate up. And 2.5 hours of strenuous exercise is the equivalent of 5 hours of moderate exercise under the new guidelines. And the studies show that that women who maintain their weight into middle age and older age are the women who exercise on average an hour a day. That's what the numbers are.
I've often heard that it's good when you have your snack or your fruits and vegetables to always have protein with it to help sustain your hunger, or get rid of your hunger.
Protein will sort of stave off hunger for longer, but you have to be careful about it because protein tends to have more fat in it, nuts and that sort of thing. I encourage you to get most of your fats from healthier fats like nuts and avocado, olive oil, rather than high-fat dairy products and butter. But you have to be mindful of those things. When my blood sugar was borderline, I cut back on the carbs. I was already eating only whole grains, but I cut back and started eating more nuts and other protein and put on 10 pounds because of how calorie dense those things are. So you have to be careful. You know, just a tiny little handful of nuts is a lot of calories. So as long as you're mindful of the calories, yes, it does help stave off hunger.
Hello, doctor. My son, well, first of all, I just love cheese, and I don't drink any milk at all. And my son tells me, Mom, those dairy products are just killing you. Are they really bad for us?
That's really controversial, I have to tell you. You know, certainly there are people who don't tolerate dairy products and who have some degree of lactose intolerance or allergy. You want to sort of minimize the fat in your diet. So, but as long as your cholesterol's fine and you feel fine eating it and you're not gaining weight from it, a little cheese is not going to kill you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all very much, ladies. It's a pleasure to be here.